With the rapid change in COVID guidelines, sports regulations are constantly changing too. Ethan Mullican and I went and interviewed MHS athletes and coaches to find out just how much these guidelines impacted their sports seasons.
Well, our season was supposed to be in the fall, and then it got postponed to now. So it's just really just the weather's been different. It's been colder starting the season rather than ending it.
Well, to start, we started the season at a later time. Usually cross country starts in the fall and we're doing it in the winter. So that alone is a complete change of temperature. We've also been doing shorter seasons and we've been changing our practices to running in different places and adding wearing masks onto that.
Well, it definitely started later, but it's been going good so far. It's a lot of fun to be back out here, so.
We got limited down to obviously we're playing later in the spring, I guess, but we only have 6 games with a scrimmage, so it's like a 9-week season in total, so it's a lot shorter than normal.
I personally kind of haven't gotten back into shape, so in a mental state, I have not been able to feel motivated until the season started back up. As well as we don't have state, counties, or championships in general. So that competition at the end of this season won't be there. It's more of dual meets. So it's a lot less competition and a lot more racing yourself.
We have check-in procedures that we have to do. Obviously wearing of the mask, still social distancing. So some of the things that we've done in the past where they were closer with each other, we have to be more aware of that. It hasn't changed how long we practice. It hasn't changed our ability to practice. Hasn't changed what we do in practice. It's changed a lot of things leading up to practice.
So what are some of the specific adjustments regarding COVID guidelines during the season?
So we have to, first of all, fill out a sign-up sheet that says, hey, we don't have COVID. And after that, we're allowed to take our masks off to run. But if we're doing stretching or if we're talking to coach or just standing around waiting for instruction in general, we had to put our masks back on.
Less team huddles in terms of pre-game and post-game. There's no handshaking after the game, so we're trying to avoid contact as much as we possibly can, that unnecessary contact. We are also wearing masks. All of our sports are wearing masks, both inside and outside. Football players actually will be wearing a mask underneath their helmet, but it's one that's attached to the helmet itself, which is something that's really nice that we're able to do for them. As you see behind us, we have field hockey out here now. Field hockey does have to wear a mask. Soccer has to wear a mask. So that's probably the biggest thing. And the whole process is to try to, again, to alleviate that contact with people.
They are asked to maintain 6 feet apart, socially distanced, and limited touching of equipment, and everything that is touched is sanitized. Yeah, that's pretty much it. We also cannot scrimmage and stuff with the other team, like the varsity team and JV team aren't supposed to scrimmage with each other.
Coaches and athletes talk about the difference between this season and prior seasons.
With the 6 feet rule and the masks, it's a lot different from last year, but I feel like we can still progress and still get better.
We have more sports on a grass field at this time, which means we have to share our turf fields. We also have been asked to share our turf fields with other schools since they may not have places to practice.
It definitely has less of a team feel because we're not exactly allowed to do team bonding with ourselves or with the JV team, so there's less connection between us.
Well, I mean, it's different, but it's the same sport, we're just gonna do what we have to get our runs in.
It kind of feels the same just because this is what we've been doing for the past year, but honestly, it's just a lot more spread out and a lot more individuality.
For cross country, it doesn't change a lot because we don't have games. I think the biggest change is just wearing the masks because all we have been doing in the past is running. So it's the same practices. We're just changing the time we do it instead of doing it right after school.
Coach Desmond tells us what to expect for coming up meets and games.
So FCPS this week just announced that we are allowed to have spectators. Each student athlete is allowed to have 2 spectators at their event. They will check in at the ticket table at our ticket booth or wherever it may be, because they can go to both home and away games. The student athlete is responsible for providing those names ahead of time. If they don't provide a name, then those people won't get in. That's probably the biggest thing in terms of spectators. They will be asked to social distance. They will be asked to, of course, while they're here on campus and in our facilities, wear a mask. Other than that, we hope they just have a great time and enjoy the game.
Seniors talk us through how it feels to have their last season played out like this, and they give younger athletes some advice.
So at first I was pretty down on it. I wasn't excited about it, but after we got pushed back, I knew we were gonna have a season. I kind of just had to make the best of it and just get the most out of it I could. And for any underclassmen, just treat it like normal. But just you gotta prepare. Every game's your last because you don't know what's gonna happen.
I would just take it in a whole lot more. I mean, I know that's what everybody says and it's very cliche, but obviously I didn't expect it to be like this, but I also didn't expect to have a season, so I can't be too upset.